First Unitarian Church of Hamilton will follow Susan.
Just testing. Good morning, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone else. How are you doing today? I want to recognize Martine Stonehouse, founder of the Trans Lobby Group, along with myself. Davina Hatter up there. Some staff support from the 519 in Toronto. We got all dressed up early today and to come here, and so thank you for the warm welcome. Congratulations to the staff who actually are the nuts and bolts behind these types of policies. It's a good report which we fully support, and we urge all members of council and all members of this committee to vote in favor of it. If there are any concerns, and some have been raised, you have an annual review to iron out the wrinkles, so to speak. But speaking of wrinkles, people like myself, a trans woman with transsexual experience, our life expectancy is not quite 30 years. And I just celebrated my 60th birthday, so how about that? Toby's Act, which we helped amend, the provincial bill, and C-16, which is just last week on Thursday passed second reading and is going to committee and Senate, which means it passed the House of Commons in 3 times. This is the 3rd time it's at committee and Senate, and these are MPs elected time and time and time again who have adopted trans rights, trans and non-binary rights at the provincial and federal level. So this is non-negotiable to adopt this. It is critical that you comply with the law of the land. So thank you very much. And it was an analogous prior to that. But what you will do when you vote in favor of this, what you will accomplish is set some standards for social inclusion of trans people in Hamilton and across Southern Ontario and all of Canada. You will help respond to a historical disadvantage of trans people. People like us who have a hard time maintaining employment, have a hard time accessing health care. I just barely got a job myself. We kind of, especially in today's society where life is so hard. I'm just going to do a time check here. How much? I'm going to even ask for an extra minute. But did you know when we adopted Toby's Law that was in June 13th, 2012? That was the first amendment to the Ontario Human Rights Code in 25 years. The last amendment was to amend sexual orientation. And remember how difficult it was for people to grasp gay and lesbian people in our societies, historical disadvantage. It goes back to like the women's rights to votes. When I was a child, and when I covered up my feelings of being a trans person, it didn't have a name for it back then, we did not have accessible washrooms. So the washroom debate, flush that down the toilet, will you? My right to speak here and be myself emerges from our opponents' rights to speak in favor. That is part of our pluralistic society. But we need to vote in favor of this because the fear-mongering, the myth-making, and the storytelling, well, that doesn't really respond to our full and complicated and nuanced lives. We just want to be included in society. I'm just going to highlight a couple things in the last minute we have here. Add gender expression. There is no such thing as a preferred name. My name is Susan, thank you very much. So you can cross that preferred stuff right out of there. And my pronoun's pretty clear, and we can talk about that over lunch and a coffee if you'd like. But what the province will be doing soon, and what the federal regulation will be doing. We do not have male-female categories, and we're moving to men and women. So I see some language in, is it 3.3? So, and we will have a third, if not fourth category of non-specified and of X category, which Don't ask me how I know this is coming down, but just let's let Trans Lobby Group, right? And so in a year, it may become a little complicated with having an open-ended category. Non-specified, X, man, woman. I prefer to be recognized as a woman. I think we're almost at time, but motion to extend for a minute to let my friend
You
talk.
actually do have an additional 2.5 minutes because there's a second presenter.
Okay, well, then I'll just finish the point here. We use the word trans rather than transgender, and we heard it a few times, gender non-binary, to clearly indicate that it's not a binary, that some people, and since gender expression, it's been this emergence of space taken up by younger people, and older as well, who demand that they're not clearly men and women, that they want to be they're non-binary on the spectrum. But thank you.
Yes. Hi, I'm Martine, Stonehouse. I'm the person who in 1999 launched a human rights case against the Ministry of Health over the delisting of sex reassignment surgery. I fought them for a total of 8 years and I won the case. And with the lobby group, we got the surgery back for everybody in the province in 2008, after a 10-year battle in total. And with the Trans Lobby Group and working with Sherry DeNovo, we got Toby's Act passed in 2012. And we've worked with the government on a trans inmate policy. And now with the gender classifications that will be coming up soon. So I want to really say I'm proud of Hamilton for doing this. And I do want to bring up an issue about, I've seen in many places where they've taken a single stall washroom, and what it is, it's the handicap washroom. And I don't want them taking away a handicap washroom to convert it to an all-gender washroom, because that takes away from the handicapped people. So we need a separate all-gender washroom. I do want to make one little point that hasn't been brought up yet. When we talk about being uncomfortable in change rooms and so on, trans people, it's traumatizing for trans people, especially who haven't had surgery. Fortunately, I'm past that now, but I mean, I had to be like Houdini in the change room because I don't want to offend anybody. Trans people don't want to offend anybody. We just want to get in there, do what we have to do, and get out because we don't want to be red or cause problems for anybody. So, yeah. So, I just want to say passing this bill is bringing us forward as a society. And it brings everybody forward, not just trans people. It opens the way of showing inclusiveness for everybody. And everybody in this world is important. Everybody has something good to give. If we don't give them a chance, we as a society lose, because we don't know what that person could have gave us. So I say leave no one behind. Pass this bill and make Hamilton more inclusive, and other cities will follow suit, and pretty soon we'll have an inclusive society all over. You look around the world at all the wars that are caused and so on, and what's it all about? We don't need people shutting other people out. We need to embrace each other and learn from each other, and that's what we're here for. That was what was meant, so that we could all learn. We're all different in this room, every one of us, and we can all learn from each other and change the world and make it a better place. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. And Susan, you could work in television, keeping track of the time like that. Thank you. Thank you. Do we have
I've done
any...
this before.
So, ladies, before you...
Thank you for your
we have
kindness.
a question. We have a question, Councillor Whitehead.
Thank you, and thank you for coming to Hamilton to make your presentation. There's a couple things I want to highlight.
Sure.
One is, and it's a terminology that has been utilized in other fronts, but it's one that I think applies here. Far too long, it's been a denormalized situation for gender binary individuals. This is really about normalizing and providing the same rights and opportunities to those individuals as all others enjoy. Would that be a correct statement?
Well, absolutely. We would stay away from the term normalizing, as sort of that's been